So, in case y'all didn't know, I am the biggest hater of tsunderes. If you don't know what that is, let me explain. A tsundere is a Japanese term for character development process that depicts a character with initially harsh personalities who gradually reveals a warmer, friendlier side over time. And trust me when I say, I hate those characters. So characters like Natsuki, Asuka, etc. are just not on my like list. I mean, are they good characters? Yes. Do I genuinely like them? No. Just no. However, there is one tsundere that has genuinely made me like her, and you probably never heard of the game. But it's called Snail Story Love Edition, and oh my god, this game is literally what inspired me. I remember being in the early days of my YouTube channel, just making stupid edits, like JoJo OP this, but I swapped the music. However, in that little career of 6 subscribers, I saw a game called Snail Story Love Edition. I was like, alright, cool, I'm gonna check it out. However, this game truly defined me. Now you may be asking, Ryan, why haven't you mentioned this game at all? Because at the time I was young, I didn't want to look weird like any other teenager. But because I was raised right, I am now going to talk about this game. Specifically, the one tsundere character that actually got me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special video. Meaning, prepare yourself. Because this will be weirder than any other video I've done. Also, just to let you know, there will be spoilers involved for the game. So, yeah. So, in order to get you all to understand why this game is so legendary to me, I'll go over everything that's in the demo. So, for starters, you play as Bella Escargot, or Miss Escargot if you want to call her that. And basically, we start off with Miss Escargot presumably running around the street, if you want to call her that, calling for her caretaker, Daisy. So, this was her final family member, and unfortunately, she went missing. All Miss Escargot was left with was a piece of paper. Now wait, hold on a sec. I just realized, if she left a piece of paper, wouldn't that have her whereabouts on it, or what? I don't know. But anyways, now Miss Escargot is all alone. Listen, if Shelltown was real, I would friggin' go immediately. No hesitation, nothing. Just going over there and chilling. Anyways, I gotta stop with the commentary. So obviously Miss Escargot is in distraught. I would honestly be the same. I mean, you expect me to lie? If I had no family members at all and my last one just vanished, I would probably go insane. I mean, comparing Miss Escargot's reaction to mine is like a soda can exploding, while mine would be like a volcano explosion the size of Mount Vesuvius. Anyways, we then skip to Miss Escargot's graduation ceremony at high school. Nice. She also makes a snail pun, which I love. Miss Escargot is the second best character. Emphasis on second best. Don't worry, we'll get into who's number 1 and why they are. By the way, the fact that this game is filled with snail puns always makes me giddy, and I have absolutely no clue why. Like, if I wanted to get snail puns, I would have gone to my father to get them, but nah. Anyways, Miss Escargot talks about Dr. Schneal, who, just want to say, talk about a crazy shell, which, by the way, you think his is crazy? Look at freaking Jeffy! Not only do we see Jeffy, but also Detective Bobby. Nice. Who is also with... Okay, let me just get dramatic since our number 1 star is here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are about to meet the best character of all the game. She's sassy, she's pretty, it's Clarice Brawler. Alright, enough with the hype. Now, not to be that guy who just skips parts of stories, but basically to keep my video from running more than 30 minutes long, we're just gonna skip to all the parts that have Clarice, except for one. We'll address that later. Anyways, Miss Escargot and Clarice don't get along like any other school bully and their victim, which, by the way, I have surprisingly never been bullied except for 1 year, which we're not going to talk about that chaos. Anyways, Clarice is complaining about how long her father is going on with his speech. And there's relatable counter number 1. In this video, we're adding a special counter to which every time I relate to Clarice, it counts a number. This is the first because I hate long speeches due to my extreme ADHD and autism. Now, before we continue, Bobby and I are fighting. My stumpy little body versus his slow one. Now, several minutes of dialogue. Sorry if I sound like I'm complaining because I'm not. Miss Escargot heads home and is greeted by our star, Clarice. I just want to say, Clarice's entrance is so sassy. She says, "Can you stop crawling around the house? You're giving me a headache." And there's number 2 on relatability because I suck at emotions. Basically, if my parents were acting this way, my idiot self would probably say something very similar. Now, she says she's here to check up on Miss Escargot. Obviously, Miss Escargot ain't buying that, but if that was me, I'd buy it immediately. No questions asked. Miss Escargot then proceeds to say, "Sometimes I think about stabbing Clarice's shell, and at that I say, you better not. Unless you want to deal with French Ryaku because he'd eat you up and spit out the shell." Now, Clarice wants to be served tea, and there goes our third relatable because I'd probably do that too since I'm super stupid. The difference being Clarice is doing this out of spoiledness, and I'd just ask to be served something out of stupidity because I suck at manners. Miss Escargot says no because she's poor, which I feel bad about because my mother was broke when I was really young, so even though I don't remember, I can still feel the pain. We then get a knock at the door, and Miss Escargot gets a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
Come to find out, Miss Escargot got into Harvard. Obviously, she can't tell this to anyone because snail people and humans shouldn't interact. Now, me being the guy I am, I would defy this boundary entirely. I would not care at all. Send me to Shelltown now. Forget Flavortown. Escargot and Clarice discuss about Human University as Escargot hides the fact she got in, which, by the way, apparently trying to leave Shelltown as a snail person is worthy of death. Why? I mean, bruh, I get you guys are supposed to be separate from humans, but do you really gotta murder each other over that? Whatever. I just hope the human world wouldn't kill me for it. I want to go to Shelltown. Then Escargot says she's been made fun of for her shell, which I'm gonna say, bruh, don't do her like that. She's already been through enough. Leave her alone. Now, she then says Clarice is pretty, but that's the only redeeming quality. On the inside, she's as ugly as a week-old tomato. Oh, you did not just say that. Now you're being a hypocrite. God, I really need to stop talking. We then find out about the shell-to-leg transplant, to which I'm like, huh? How are you going to do that? Wouldn't you die from getting plucked from your shell? I don't know, man. Now, remember that I mentioned earlier where I said there was going to be a moment not featuring Clarice? Yeah, this has to do with the game choices. Now, if you scroll on social media too much in the game, you will wake up and hit your head on the desk. Now, surely it's just a bruise, right? No! You full-on die. Your skull gets cracked and you bleed out. What the heck? How is that even possible? Bruh, I literally used to slam my head at full force into walls as a toddler as a temper tantrum, yet my skull isn't cracked. How do you crack your skull on a desk? What? Alright, as much as I'd like to question this, I know the developer's watching me, and I'd rather not get crucified in Shelltown, so I'm gonna just stop before they ban me permanently. Now, before we move on, I want to give props to the developer for actually knowing that snails have blue blood. So when you see Miss Escargot on the floor, she's bleeding blue blood. So yeah, props for that. Now, skipping really far into the game, we get to see our boy Bobby again. And yay! Now, our star, Clarice, shows up once again. Yay! Apparently, Goober Lips McGee Bobby promised her to give her a ride to a party. Now listen, I know I'm gonna sound like a simp for this, but bro, give her a ride! You made a promise. Listen, I have very odd morals, and one of them is never break a promise, no matter what. So him doing that really grinded my gears. I was like, oh heck nah, dude, you promised, you gotta do it. You back out, you suck. However, he backed out, I got mad. Now, this is the part where I actually don't side with Clarice, because once she finds out he forgot, she calls him cruel. Now, if it was playful, I wouldn't care, but it's not. So I'm like, yeah, you lost yourself some brownie points there, buddy. Now, we get into more crazy stuff of Clarice. Basically, she's obviously upset at first, but then she starts beating on him. Bruh! Now, this is the weird side of me. As much as I don't like that she fights him physically, in the words of Spike Spiegel,
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
So I'm neutral. As much as the one side of me says no, she's Chris Browning him, more than half of me says, what? Obviously, Miss Escargot stands up to her. And now, again, Miss Escargot says something I don't like. She says, ugh, was she dropped in a vat of poisoned salt as a child? Is that why she has a horrible personality? And me, being the idiot I am, I reacted with, hey, I have brain damage, you know. I may not have gotten dropped in a vat of anything, but you best keep your mouth shut. Yeah, I know, I was nuts. I'm not like that now. I don't care that she said that. I don't like it, but I'm not offended. Crawls off, and then we skip to another big part of the game. Now, people, let me remind you that Clarice was a mean girl so far, but this is where it really got me. So she's hugging Jeffy and crying about something, and Miss Escargot accidentally interrupts. Now, reminder, this is why you knock on doors. You don't walk in there like a dunce. You knock. Now, unfortunately, after this moment, you never see Clarice again. Not even at the end of the demo. Now, me, being the idiot I was like, that's it? No more Clarice? Bruh, I was actually liking her. Bring her back, please. And obviously, I'm a doofus, as you can tell. Keep in mind, this was back in January of 2023, so I was like 13. Now, as soon to be 15-year-old, I still wait for this game to finish. The developers are still working, because unfortunately the Kickstarter failed. When I found out the Kickstarter had failed, I was not happy. I was like, what? It failed? This game is so good. Why can't people understand that? I then proceeded to lose my mind like in the following video clip. So guys, you want the quick answer? Here. I'd label her as Tsundere done right. Like, honest to God, I love her character. I don't know why, but she reminds me of Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls. Obviously, the two are very different because, if anything, Clarice would be Regina. But that sad moment where she was crying, it reminded me a lot of Gretchen when she was talking about some guy named Caesar, who I presume is Julius Caesar, but I don't know. So, yeah, I absolutely love her design too. I had never known green and purple went together until then. Now, something funny about that is when I was watching Evangelion for the first time, I saw Shinji's Eva, and my mind went straight to Clarice because I love green and purple together. Now, another thing is, like, when it comes to tsunderes, you actually have to work for it. Now, I like that in Shy Girl, so I'm more of a Tsundere type, or strong woman type guy. Now, I'm going to steal a quote from a big YouTuber named Harold Story. the type of girl that doesn't care about you, but she really cares about you. And to which, me being the guy I am, I was like, yep, that quote describes her perfectly. Funny thing, my mascot was actually inspired by this game. It wasn't just the snail girl bot on Joyland.ai I made. Now, probably a really stupid dream to have, but something I would like to see is if the developer actually put Shelby in her game, like as a cameo. That would make me so happy. And if she does do that, I won't mind. I'll let her use Shelby as a full-on character for all I care. And if she does plan on that, my only request is I want the PNG for a render. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the weirdness I talked about. Anyways, before we go, let's ask Shelby, my mascot, what she thinks of Clarice. Shelby, what do you think of Clarice?
I like her design, but honestly, I don't like her attitude.
Fair enough, Shelby. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And this is SSJ, Raikou, and Shelby signing off. Peace.